Yes, Suella Braverman has won the vote in Parliament on her illegal migration bill, which is going to be banning illegal entry. We're going to have a lot of updates on this issue. And of course, you've already had all the leftists, anti-border, virtuous secularists completely having a meltdown last night in Parliament, outside of Parliament as well, and today in the mainstream media. So let's talk about what happened last night, because we're going to talk about how the vote went and the reaction to this bill. This is the second reading in terms of the process in the House of Commons. So Suella Braverman decided to go robust on this issue. She's receiving a lot of criticism from the left-wing and liberal mainstream media, the Labour Party, all the other left-wing parties. Some people on the political right, including myself, were still also skeptical in regards to making sure that the bill actually works, because we've heard this so many times before. That's why I always say, I'll believe it when I see it. But so far, as an attempt, as an effort, she's completely going with what she's been saying. And we have more updates, by the way, on this issue, for you guys on the channel. Every half an hour, we're going to come to you guys to let you know what happened last night and what's been going on today as well. Because now that we have essentially the first day since the second reading, the whole process started, we got some exciting news for you guys from the British government, which is rare to say considering how incompetent this cabinet have been. Anyway, so last night, before the actual main votes, you had a Labour Party amendment, and the attempt was to completely bring down the illegal migration bill, which is going to be banning illegal entry to the country. And this was voted down easily by MPs. The people who voted yes were 249, only 249 of all the people in Parliament, and 312 voted against it. So this was the first attempt as an amendment to essentially undermine the whole process. So that was always going to get defeated anyway. But when it came to the main vote, this was what happened.
The ayes to the right, 312. The noes to the left, 250.
Okay, 312. So we've had 312 people voting yes for this legislation in terms of the second reading, and 250 voted against it. And the interesting thing about this was that if you've been watching the channel over the last few days, we've been reporting on all the updates leading up to this vote. And we said even yesterday that we have some left-wing Tory MPs who have been quite vocal against it in terms of their opposition. They've been taking the Labour Party side, including people like Caroline Noakes, who came out and said, I cannot vote for this bill. It's just impossible. Why are you even in the Conservative Party, Caroline? Having said that, Caroline Noakes and someone else, by the way, yes, Theresa May, who was also critical of this bill, and she was very vocal about it last night in Parliament and in the last couple of days, neither of them voted against it. No Tory MP ended up actually voting against the bill. Now, they didn't vote for it. What they did was what we call a Keir Starmer. They sat on the fence. They abstained. Interesting. I thought these people had convictions. I thought all these EU Ramonas and all these liberal Tories who believe in their conviction of compassion and essentially leftism, because they use those words as a nice thing to say. Oh, we're just being compassionate. We are promoting big government because we're compassionate. They didn't have the bravery to vote against it. Now, of course, they didn't vote for it, but it's just the beginning, because as we continue with this legislation and everything else, all the votes, there will come a time when Theresa May and Caroline Noakes would potentially vote against it, and that would be quite problematic for them and the Tory party. But actually, it might be a good thing, because I think the Tories need a bit of a cleansing session after the next general election. I think it's time to get rid of some of the bad apples in the Tory party, those who've been completely dominating the establishment and tainted the name and the image of the Conservative Party. Because when you hear Conservative Party, you picture the cabinet and the Tory HQ and leadership, which are all liberal and leftists and wokey green. But in reality, the actual grassroots of the Conservative Party, the wider Conservative family, who don't really have that much power, they are very, very conservative. But they don't, as I said, because they don't have power, they don't really get any say for now. Now, In regards to what happened outside of Parliament, guess what happened outside of Parliament last night, guys? Oh, of course, you had all the little kids coming out, being so sad. I've never seen, in the words of Jon Snow, I've never seen so many white people in one place. They had signs saying, "Stop the bill, care for refugees." Okay. Although you need some sort of comma, punctuation matters because that reads quite differently. "We, the people, do not trust this government. Enough is enough." These people, it's a classic left-wing thing to do. They say, government is bad. And then they say, so what's the solution? More government. That makes absolutely no sense, guys. You're all hypocrites. So we had more signs saying, refugees, welcome. Yay. Sisters, not strangers. Who came up with that? That is so weird. Okay. Stay loud, stay clear. Refugees are, I'm guessing it says welcome here. I could change it. We could do a caption competition for this one. Anyway, this is the latest update, and we're going to come to you guys every half an hour because we're going to tell you about the details of what happened prior to the vote last night, because we had a couple of very, very good speeches that happened by Suella Braverman and also on the other side, Theresa May. And we're going to give you the latest update on BBC scandals as well as what's going on with the EU Rejoiners campaign, because they are very, very proactive these days, but they're all lashing out. And the latest news story, what's going on in the Middle East and Asia, because China are expanding their empire using Saudi Arabia and Iran, as reported a couple of days ago, right here on the channel. The best thing you can do by supporting independent new media is subscribe to the channel. I'm Mahyar, Tousi, and we are the media.